I do three things. I'm an advisor to the Global Open Finance Centre of Excellence, GOFCO, which is being rebranded. It'd be good to know. It's creating a data community and a computing facility to host a rich set of financial data for strictly approved academic researchers, policymakers, banks, the wider open banking, open life, to come in and innovate around 6 key pillars. And I'm also proud to be an advisor at Digital. We help organizations thrive by unlocking the potential of technology and people. My second hat is I invest into some startups and help a few startups get to market with a proposition. And the third bit is I'm onto the board of 2 charities focused on financial well-being and education and teaching kids to code. At GOFCO, we're looking at real data, synthetic data, anonymized data, and looking at areas of reducing financial crime and risk. So an example would be there's a big problem for money mules at the moment. It's a relatively easy thing to spot if people come together, but you need the international payments, you need the bank, you need the mobile operator, you need a number of actors to say, right, we're going to try and solve money mules. And we're going to look at young children, young adults in university being exploited for drug trafficking and et cetera, et cetera. So they're the sorts of use cases that is currently being looked at. We've got one use case at the moment looking at household expenditure. To do that, you need multiple data sets to get a true view of ins and outs, and looking at an impact where we can change behaviors towards saving for a fair pension in the future. That's a specific use case. Sustainable finance and positive impact on climate change is another pillar that we've got a number of use cases in. And then looking beyond that in terms of educating and reskilling people displaced by AI and ML, looking at the trust and data ethics as a pillar. So we see a real movement. Some of the major banks have been very, very accommodating in this area. They want to be in the financial impact and social impact area. They want to be helping vulnerable people. They want to build products and services. They want to innovate with the FinTechs. They want to bring new things to market. But as Stephen touched on, you need standards and risk controls and governance and APIs, digital libraries, etc. But we see this as a movement. Just the other week, the National Emergencies Trust announced they wanted collaboration around the spread of COVID-19, coronavirus, and looking at the people that would be impacted. And the first thing they asked to the community, is there any data asset sets out there that would be useful to try and help these vulnerable people at this time? We believe that the citizen owns the data and should control, and the right to authorize the mandate that data comes to us. But one of the biggest challenges when the data does come to these organizations is the categorization and the usefulness of that data to ingest it and make good use of it. So it's one thing having the API, but if you do go right down the mandate route, you'd need to set standards in terms of the formatting of that data as it comes out. So it might be that the APIs aren't being used because the data is not useful, because it's not categorized or in a shape that third parties can use it. But I think it's a combination of legislation and a combination of open market, because totally running a mandated system from end to end, I'm with you that where would the innovation come and the differential come? If you start with the customer value and what you're going to be creating, communicating, educating, making them aware of the new products and services, what value it delivers, that'll drive demand. And but we need to keep researching into this. It's very early days. We need to keep an eye on the API conformance and standards, what impact it's having on competition and innovation, what impact it's having on vulnerable customers and inclusion. What's the level of trust is up? Does a customer really understand open banking? Really? If you stop anybody in the street, does it matter if the product and service is trusted and used and delivering value for them? But we need to look at what impact open finance will bring around key people in society, like vulnerable financial well-being, pension deficit, savings problem. So I think that going forward in the FCA call for action, it's got to move to citizen education and awareness and building things, allowing organizations to innovate fast and create sandboxes, create API standards, digital libraries, observatories where we can go and experiment in a safe environment, where we can take our algorithms and test for bias and things like that. We definitely need an infrastructure around this as well as some legislation. So I think it's fascinating to see how this will play out.